Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Today we're diving deep into the brain to answer a question that affects millions. Can we reverse anxiety? For anyone who's felt that familiar knot of tension, the racing thoughts, the pounding heart, anxiety can feel like a life sentence. But groundbreaking research is revealing that it's not. Anxiety is a tangible neurobiological process, and by understanding it, we can learn to control it. At the heart of this story is a tiny, almond-shaped part of your brain called the amygdala, traditionally known as the brain's fear center. It's the source of the storm. But science is now showing us exactly how to calm that storm by rebalancing the very neurons that create it. So, how do we rewire our brain's alarm system? Let's find out. The amygdala, located deep within your temporal lobe, is your brain's vigilant alarm system. It's constantly scanning everything you see, hear, and feel, looking for potential threats. When it spots one, a car swerving into your lane, a stressful email from your boss, it hits the panic button. This triggers the famous fight, flight, or freeze response. The amygdala signals the hypothalamus, which floods your body with stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. Your heart rate quickens, your blood pressure rises, and your breathing gets shallow. This system is brilliant and essential for survival. It's what keeps you alive. The problem arises when this system becomes too sensitive. In people with anxiety disorders, the amygdala can become hyperactive. It starts reacting to things that aren't truly life-threatening, like a social gathering, a presentation at work, or even just a passing thought. This is what's often called an amygdala hijack. Your emotional, reactive brain takes over, overriding the logical, rational part of your brain, the frontal lobes. This hyperactivity is a common thread across many anxiety disorders, from generalized anxiety to PTSD. But the key to reversing this isn't just about turning down the volume on the amygdala. It's about understanding the intricate dance of the cells inside it. To do that, we need to go deeper into the specific neurons that are out of balance. The amygdala isn't just one solid chunk. It's a complex of different parts. Two are critical for anxiety: the basolateral amygdala, or BLA, and the central nucleus of the amygdala, or CEA. Think of the BLA as the input station. It receives information from your senses and decides if something is emotionally important. The BLA is full of excitatory neurons, which use a neurotransmitter called glutamate. These are the cells that learn to associate a neutral thing, like an elevator, with a fearful event, like feeling trapped. In an anxious brain, the BLA is often over-responsive, stamping threat on too many things. The CEA, on the other hand, is the output station. It's what actually triggers the physical fight-or-flight response. Now here's the fascinating part. The CEA is made almost entirely of inhibitory neurons that use a neurotransmitter called GABA. These GABA neurons are supposed to act as the brakes, controlling and modulating the fear output. Anxiety, at its core, is a chemical imbalance within this circuit. There's too much go signal from the excitatory glutamate neurons and not enough stop signal from the inhibitory GABA neurons. This creates a state of hyperexcitability, leaving you feeling constantly on edge. Scientists have seen this directly. In studies with mice showing anxious behaviors, they found that overactive excitatory neurons in the BLA were the main culprit. But remarkably, when they artificially dialed down the activity of those specific neurons, the anxious behaviors were reversed. The mice became more social and less withdrawn. This tells us something profound. The anxious state is not permanent. It's a state of imbalance that can be corrected. Digging even deeper into the central nucleus, the CEA, scientists have found a cast of specialized characters. It's not just about inhibition in general. It's a competition between different types of inhibitory neurons. Two key players are neurons that express a protein called somatostatin, or SOM+, and those that express protein kinase C-delta, or PKC-delta+. The SOM+ neurons seem to be the anxiety generators. Activating them directly causes anxious, freezing behavior. They work by shutting down other neurons, essentially taking the brakes off the anxiety output. The PKC delta plus neurons often do the opposite. They are involved in reducing anxiety and pain signals. These two cell types are in a constant push and pull, a microcircuit that helps the brain decide on the right defensive response. In a state of chronic anxiety, the SOM plus neurons are often winning this battle, keeping the system in a state of high alert. Understanding these specific cell types is opening the door to highly targeted therapies that could one day rebalance this circuit without the side effects of current medications. Of course, the amygdala doesn't act alone. It's regulated by the brain's command and control centers, most importantly, the prefrontal cortex, or PFC, and the hippocampus. The PFC, located at the very front of your brain, is the CEO. It's responsible for rational thinking, decision-making, and emotional regulation. The PFC provides top-down control over the amygdala. When the amygdala rings the alarm, the PFC is supposed to assess the situation and, if there's no real danger, tell the amygdala to stand down. In a healthy brain, this PFC-amygdala connection is strong, but in people with anxiety disorders, that connection is often weak. The PFC fails to apply the brakes, letting the amygdala's fear response run wild and last much longer than it should. Then there's the hippocampus, the brain's memory and context specialist. It helps the amygdala distinguish between a safe context and a dangerous one. For example, your hippocampus tells you a lion at the zoo is safe, but a lion in your backyard is not. Chronic stress and anxiety damage the hippocampus, making it harder to make these distinctions. As a result, more situations feel unsafe, which further fuels the amygdala's hyperactivity. So the goal is twofold. We need to calm the amygdala itself, and we need to strengthen the regulatory power of the prefrontal cortex and the hippocampus. The most exciting part of this whole story is that your brain is not set in stone. It has an incredible ability to change, a property called neuroplasticity. This means we can actively retrain these circuits. So here's the roadmap to reversing anxiety, based on solid neuroscience. First, let's talk about therapeutic approaches. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, is one of the most effective treatments for anxiety. It works by teaching you to identify, challenge, and reframe the negative thought patterns that fuel the anxiety cycle. From a neurological perspective, CBT is essentially a workout for your prefrontal cortex. Brain imaging studies show that successful CBT treatment physically strengthens the connection between the PFC and the amygdala. As you learn to rationally evaluate your anxious thoughts, your PFC gets better at sending those calming, inhibitory signals down to the amygdala, quieting its alarm. Studies have even found CBT can reduce the volume and sensitivity of the amygdala itself. Another powerful tool is mindfulness and meditation. This is the practice of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. Regular meditation literally reshapes your brain. Studies have found that long-term meditators have a smaller amygdala, and that their amygdala is less reactive to stressful stimuli. Like CBT, mindfulness strengthens the functional connectivity between the PFC and the amygdala. It trains you to observe your anxious thoughts and feelings without being hijacked by them, improving your emotional regulation from the top down. Next up are lifestyle interventions, which are the foundational pillars of a resilient brain. Regular physical exercise is a potent, natural anti-anxiety medicine. Exercise has been shown to increase the brain's levels of both glutamate and GABA. While more glutamate might sound bad, exercise helps the brain use it more efficiently for energy, which in turn helps replenish the overall supply of both neurotransmitters, leading to better balance. The boost in GABA, the brain's main calming chemical, directly reduces the overexcitability in the amygdala that defines anxiety. What you eat also directly impacts your brain chemistry. Diets high in sugar and processed foods promote inflammation, which has been shown to disrupt the activity in the amygdala and PFC. Conversely, a brain-healthy diet can be incredibly calming. Omega-3 fatty acids, found in things like fatty fish and walnuts, are crucial for brain health and have been shown to reduce anxiety. And then there's the gut-brain axis. Your gut is lined with millions of neurons and a complex ecosystem of bacteria that constantly communicates with your brain. An unhealthy gut can trigger inflammation and anxiety. Probiotics and fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, and kimchi support a healthy gut microbiome, which in turn supports a calm brain. Don't underestimate the power of sleep. Sleep is critical for emotional processing. During REM sleep, your brain works to decouple emotional experiences from their intense charge. When you're sleep-deprived, this process fails. A lack of sleep leads directly to a hyperactive amygdala and a weakened connection to the regulatory PFC. One sleepless night can make you significantly more emotionally reactive the next day. Prioritizing 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep is non-negotiable for calming an anxious brain. Finally, a simple but powerful technique is vagus nerve stimulation. The vagus nerve is the superhighway of your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system that acts as a direct brake on the fight-or-flight response. You can stimulate this nerve through simple actions like deep, slow breathing, where your exhale is longer than your inhale. Cold exposure, like a splash of cold water on your face, or a cold shower, and even humming or gargling can also activate it. Stimulating the vagus nerve helps strengthen the pathway from the PFC to the amygdala, enhancing your brain's ability to learn that something you once feared is now safe. While these strategies are incredibly powerful, the future of anxiety treatment promises even more precision. Current medications like benzodiazepines work by broadly boosting GABA across the entire brain, which can cause sedation and dependence. Future drugs aim to be much more targeted. Researchers are developing medications that only activate specific receptors on the overactive neurons in the basolateral amygdala. In animal models, these drugs reduce anxiety without the cognitive side effects. In research labs, scientists are even using techniques like optogenetics, where they use light to turn specific neurons on and off. This has been instrumental in proving that rebalancing these circuits can reverse anxiety, and it offers a glimpse into a future of ultra-personalized treatments. It's also important to remember that while amygdala hyperactivity is a common thread, it can look a little different across various anxiety disorders. In social anxiety disorder, the amygdala shows a particularly strong overreaction to social cues like facial expressions. In post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, there's a profound failure of the prefrontal cortex to regulate the amygdala's response to trauma-related triggers. And in generalized anxiety disorder, which involves chronic worry, the network is even more complex, involving wider brain regions related to rumination. So let's bring it all together. The relentless hum of anxiety is not some abstract failing, it's a tangible state of neurobiological imbalance. It's a state where the go signals in your brain's fear center are overpowering the stop signals. But the most important message for modern neuroscience is that this state is not permanent. This imbalance can be corrected. The brain's capacity for change, its neuroplasticity, is your greatest ally. By engaging in therapies like CBT, you can retrain your prefrontal cortex to regain control. Through practices like mindfulness, you can reshape the very structure of your brain. And by embracing foundational lifestyle habits like exercise, good nutrition, and quality sleep, you give your brain the raw materials it needs to build resilience. Reversing anxiety is a journey of actively and intentionally engaging in practices that calm your brain's overactive alarm and restore harmony to your mind. The science is clear. We all have the remarkable ability to rebalance our brains and, in doing so, reclaim a life of calm, clarity, and emotional freedom.